Thank you very much. As I already said during the introductions, my name is Bjorn van Kampenhout. I was asked to open this workshop just like last minute, so I'm going to be very brief because I will also be talking later on some more. And yeah, as I just said, I'm also actually not the head of the office of IFPRI, so I'm also standing in for Bo Mudiahoto, who could not be with us today, but yeah, he sends his apologies for that. So many of you will know IFPRI. As Rob just said, IFPRI is an international research organization, and we also have a presence here in Uganda. We have an IFPRI Kampala office, which has been here for a few decades by now. And we have been working here on various issues with many different partners, including the DDA for this project primarily, but we have also worked with, for instance, the Office of the Prime Minister. We have also worked with NARO, and of course also with MAIF, who we hope will be an important scaling partner for this project. So that's why I would like to invite Dr. Alex Mukasa from the Directorate of Animal Resources from MAIF to also provide some opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to this workshop. Once again, my name is Alex Mukasa, and I'm here to represent the Commissioner for Animal Production, that is Dr. Theophilus Mwesige. The Department of Animal Production under the Ministry of Agriculture briefly is responsible for regulating and supporting access to good quality animal feeds, access to water for livestock, ensuring that our farmers have got good animal breeds, but also when it comes to animal source foods, we are responsible to ensure that whatever food is put on the table is safe for human consumption. So briefly, that's the mandate of our department. I would like to thank IFPRI and all the partners for coming up with this project and innovations. You know, you are so many, I cannot mention all of you, but we are happy that you've been able to work as a team to ensure that you come up with the innovations that are going to uplift the dairy industry in Uganda. Wherever I've been, I've never heard anyone talking ill of the dairy subsector or dairy industry. Whoever talks about it talks in a positive sense when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to income generation among the poor, when it comes to contribution to the GDP. However, despite all those things which are being talked about, this subsector or industry is still having a lot of challenges. Our stakeholders, right away from the farmer up to the consumer, they have a lot of questions depending on the section of the value chain where someone is lying or where someone is operating. They all have questions. And those questions are normally directed to us. They are normally directed to government. They are normally directed to development partners. And I'm sure we have the solutions, we have the answers. But the major challenge we have is that we have not popularized the digitization of agriculture. Because you find other sectors, for example, if we wanted a Uber, you just go to your phone, you press, and then maybe in 20 minutes, the Uber will be here. But when it comes to dairy, when it comes to agriculture, you can hardly find people who are using digital technology to access the information or to get the answers they need. We are still relying on our rudimentary methods. You call someone for an answer, or you wait for someone to come to your home so that he can help you in the problem you have. I think this one is partly the reason why our agriculture is lagging behind. So with these innovations, I'm very sure our people will be able to access timely information. In fact, I was posing a question to myself because as the Minister of Agriculture, we normally work through the local government staff. But good enough, we have farmers here, but also would like to see our extension staff coming on board to embrace this technology, because we have extension staff throughout the country and we are very sure they can help us to spread this information. Okay, so members, I would like to call upon all of you to ensure that whatever we discuss doesn't end here. I've heard we are coming from different institutions, but I know we are also coming from different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So let us try to make these innovations popular. But also, I've heard we are having different staff from DDA. I would also call upon that these innovations should not stay in southwestern Uganda. As you heard, Agnes talked about, we have about 5 to 6 milk sheds. Okay, about 5 to 6. So we want to see that these innovations, they spread throughout the country. For example, these days, people from northern Uganda, they feel they are neglected when it comes to farming. They have a lot of resources. They have what it takes to ensure that the dairy industry in their area develops. So we would like to see that at least these innovations also go to other parts of the country. Then the other prayer is the harmonization of the information. We have a challenge these days. People develop different applications. And when you go to those applications, you get different information. So that one is confusing our people also. In fact, these days, our permanent secretary is calling upon us to have, for example, one system which can be able to provide harmonized information. And then also, I'm also asking that we continue supporting the different value chain actors. For example, we have the traders, we have the transporters, we have people who are in the feed industry, people who are in the drug industry, people who are in processing, even the consumers. So let us continue wherever an opportunity is available to support the different value chain actors, because if you support, for example, if we supported health, if we supported marketing, if we supported breeding, and you leave out people who are in the feed industry, that one will be a very big blow towards the success of the dairy industry. With those few words, I wish you a successful deliberation during these 2 days. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your welcome remarks. At this point, I'll again ask John to introduce and welcome. Yes.
I would like to welcome Rob Voss, to give his welcome address.
Thank you, Björn, and good morning, everyone. Let me first start with something I should have said when I introduced myself, for apologizing for not being able to be with you here in person today. But luckily, these modern means do allow me to be part of this important meeting. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the stakeholder meeting of the Rethinking Food Markets Initiative. Most of you have been actively involved in the research and activities of the initiative, be it in identifying key food market bottlenecks to be resolved, the design of the value chain innovations, the research itself, or the policy issues surrounding these. The initiative started almost 3 years ago, and at this workshop, we want to discuss the progress achieved so far with the experimentation of the innovations that were tested in Uganda and showcase the preliminary findings of their impacts on livelihoods, value chain efficiency, sustainability, and food security. So here's some of the questions you can ask yourself. What do these findings mean to you? Can these innovations be scaled for wider impact and benefits? What is needed for that, and what should be the next steps in this research? So these are some key questions we would like to get answers to at this workshop. But before coming back to them, let me first give a bit more of a background to the initiative and the reason why we have engaged in this endeavor with all of you. So we go to the next slide. The initiative aims to contribute to solving multiple challenges the food systems face today. The food sector is arguably the largest source of employment of all sectors around the world, but unable to provide decent livelihoods for billions of people who depend on it. Many of the workers employed in the sector are unable to make ends meet. They are not able to afford a nutritious diet for themselves and for their families. And also the weaknesses and inefficiencies in value chains in the food systems are generating poor outcomes, not just for the people, but also for the environment, thus for the planet. So the Rethinking Food Markets Initiative tries to address these challenges and turn them into opportunities by generating evidence on innovations and policies effective for the creation of equitable income and business opportunities for smallholder farmers and small and medium enterprises and their workers, and also focusing particularly on benefits for women and youth. We go to the next slide. So some of the key objectives of the research, like what we're trying to focus on, is looking at how can we converge the dynamics of what we call the hidden middle of food value chains in ways that they would achieve better outcomes. So those outcomes we would like to see contributing to poverty reduction through innovations and policies to promote better employment and income opportunities for smallholders and small and medium enterprises, climate change mitigation through innovations that induce greater value chain efficiency and the adoption of sustainable practices. And third, making healthy foods more affordable for the poor and nutritionally vulnerable populations. That through increasing the efficiencies for nutrition-rich foods. And lastly, also reducing food loss and waste by bundling select innovations and improving quality control and logistics infrastructure, in which we expect to contribute all three of the previous objectives. So the Rethinking Food Markets Initiative, in doing so, has prioritized high-value food groups and value chains in 5 country contexts: Ethiopia, Uganda in East Africa, Nigeria in West Africa, Bangladesh in South Asia, and Honduras in Central America. We go to the next slide. So to contribute to those objectives, the research team combines expertise from across the CGIAR system with experience in conducting research across the food system for the design of innovations and options for agriculture and food policy reform. So we have been engaging in doing so actively with governments and private sector stakeholders. And since we aim to contribute to multiple objectives in these contexts, whose value chain actors face multiple constraints, we needed a research approach that fits for this purpose. So we found this for a three-pronged approach. So first, we identify appropriate bundles of innovations rather than standalone innovations, able to address these multiple constraints. In the example on the slide here for what we're doing in Nigeria's horticulture value chain, the critical innovations that were identified included improved seed varieties for vegetables, certifying the improved food quality, cold chain development to improve efficiency and reduce food loss, and the use of inclusive business models for managing the cold chain units. In Uganda, we're following the same approach for different innovations, which I'll mention in a minute. The second part of the approach is to study how markets are functioning, what are the incentives for the actors to do the things they do, and for improving on the things they do, and the potential for scaling of the bundled innovations. And the third component is to undertake model-based scenario analysis and hold stakeholder dialogues like the ones we're having today to identify effective and coherent policies to support the scaling of the innovations, identify possible trade-offs and obstacles to reforms that are needed to make the scaling happen. If you go to the next slide, so quickly we'll hear a lot more about this this morning. Uganda, we've worked on two cases. The first in the dairy sector, where we aim to empower milk collection centers with data-based information on milk quality and enhance their capacity to bargain for better prices or better market access. And second, to generate rewards to suppliers of raw milk of better quality through price premia based on better product and market information. So today we'll showcase the preliminary findings of the impact evaluations of the use of milk analyzers on milk quality and quality-based payment systems, innovations, and interact with all of you, partners and other stakeholders to assess these results and discuss the scalability of the interventions. Go to the next slide. So the second case study looks at how digital literacy training can help create better access to agriculture inputs through digital platforms and how agronomic training can help ensure safe use of agrochemicals. The innovation should help raise productivity, improve value chain efficiency, and with it, rural livelihoods. So you go to the next slide, and I'll conclude with these. We're here to discuss the findings and draw lessons from the workings of these innovations and whether they can and should be brought to scale. But I also want to have a dialogue with you about the approach taken in conducting this research together with all of you. So coming to the objectives of the gathering, summarizing these, first we want to validate the evidence on the impacts as we'll present them to you. Share this knowledge to promote the adoption of the innovative food system solutions that we think could be effective in the case of Uganda. We also want to identify the challenges to adoption of these innovations and what it takes to scale them. And related to that, what are the enabling conditions and maybe policies that would be needed to provide the right incentives for the adoption of the innovations. And also, as I mentioned, identify possible trade-offs once we bring them to scale. What will be the broader market impacts, and have we thought through all the benefits, but maybe also costs that may come with that. And lastly, on that basis, co-design effective pathways towards the scaling and get your buy-in to make this happen and get all these improvements to bring the benefits that we hope we bring to food value chains in Uganda. So to conclude, this is the second of stakeholder workshops that we'll be conducting in the coming weeks. Last week we held our first workshop in Nigeria. Next up, our similar engagement in Ethiopia and Honduras. So once more, let me apologize for not being here with you and engage directly in person with you. But many of my colleagues are here, and I'm very confident this will be not just an inspiring, but also hopefully an impactful gathering for all of us. Thank you very much.